for the World Health Organization director to resign after he and the WHO director facing calls for his resignation. Why? His failure to oversee China's coronavirus response and, frankly, disseminating propaganda from China. Joining us now, reaction, Senator Lindsey Graham. China's actions unforgivable. Do you support Marsha Blackburn's idea that China should forgive U.S. loans and bear some of the cost of what they did to us and the rest of the world?
Makes sense to me. If it were up to me, the whole world should send China a bill for the pandemic. This is the third pandemic to come out of China. They come from these wet markets where they have bats and monkeys with the virus carrying.
Pause. So he said if it was up to him, Senator Lindsey Graham says if it was up to him, he would charge China for all of their the pandemic attack, right? But how can you blame a nation of people for a food market, allegedly a virus coming out of a food market? Does that make any sense, guys? That's like me blaming all Europeans today for their ancestors murdering and spreading diseases to millions of Native Americans in the indigenous land. Come on now, guys. Listen to what these people are saying. It sounds ridiculous.
The virus intermingled with the food supply. Yeah, I'd make China pay big time. And here's the question for 2020. Who do you want to take on?
No. Let me pause this again, guys. Let me pause this again. Not to mention, who do you get all your clothes from? China. Who makes all of your shoes, your Jordans, your Adidas? Who makes all of your Nikes? Who creates all of that stuff? China. Who innovated the technology advancement world? Who's ahead of the 5G network? China. So when you say stuff like we should give a bill to China, I question you, Senator Lindsey Graham. I question you, the U.S. America, because you guys had trades. You guys have had trades with China. You guys have trade relations with China, but yet you're going to blame China, a whole nation of people, for a virus that allegedly started in a food market in Wuhan city, right? You're gonna blame them. Why aren't you blaming the food market besides blaming them? Because if anything, China paved the way for a lot of Americans to even have technology, phones, Sony, all this extra shit that's advanced. China paved the way for that. So how can you blame that group? Come on, guys.
China, Trump or Joe Biden? I don't think that'd be a hard decision for most people.
Senator, the president's been saying the cure can't be worse than the problem. An unprecedented $2.2 trillion in relief. Americans through no fault of their own. We've talked about this at length. We got to protect them. We've bailed out Europe. We've saved the world from evil constantly. Up to $4 trillion also available from the Fed in loans. Now they're talking about $2 trillion.
Now they're talking about $1 trillion investments and how they saved everybody's asses. Wow. Now they're trying to bring up how America has saved everybody's asses from the gutters. Okay, guys. All right.
In infrastructure, did we not learn shovel-ready jobs are not so shovel-ready?
Right. Well, we got a different president. Obama, spent $787 billion and you didn't even get a T-shirt. This president, Trump, knows shovel-ready when he sees it. I think the Trump strategy and policy regarding the virus is working. We're driving down the curve every day. The president jumped ahead of everybody pretty much in the world to stop travel from China and eventually Europe. So I think we're going to be well below 100,000 in deaths. God, every death is terrible. But I think the president...
Wait. So you hear this, guys. Don't y'all hear what he's saying? He's saying that China is still the cause of everybody's death because the trades and cutting off trade systems and the virus is spreading from packages and just like that, right? Okay. How is it their fault when America has continuously had trades with them? There was a trade still going on in Wuhan, China around December 2019 when the pandemic even started. It was still trades going on. So how can the U.S. blame China when they still had trades with them from the beginning? You can't do that. You can't have relations with somebody and then once motherfucking going berserk or they start having problems, you start penalizing them when you had relations with them. You were just as guilty as that party, if anything. You see this narrative, right? They're trying to get everybody against China. They're trying to get everybody against China, right? Come on, guys. You don't blame a whole nation of people for a virus. In that case, I should blame Andrew Jackson. I should blame I should blame all the Europeans that took over indigenous land and spreaded pox and diseases all throughout indigenous land just to take over the world. I should blame all the Europeans that killed off the Native Americans by having bad hygienics and bad diseases. I should blame all the modern day Europeans for their ancestors doing that wickedness. But instead, I don't hold a bill. I don't put a bill on people because what happened in the past or what happened with something I couldn't control. So they're basically trying to blame China for not the whole nation for a virus that allegedly, like I said, they took off in a supermarket in Wuhan, China. Come on, guys. Look at the narrative. They're trying to make a narrative. Come on, guys.
And his team have done a really good job working with the governors and the public to drive down the curve. And when it comes to what you do next, we need to look at China from top to bottom, get our medical supply chain back. And if we do a stimulus bill, it needs to stimulate the economy, not the government.
Okay. He said if we do get a stimulus bill, it's not to abstain the government, it's to sustain the economy. Okay. So let me riddle you this, right? When the virus first broke out in the US, what happened? There was the first patient that came from Wuhan, China. They had the virus, the COVID-19, and brought it to the US. What happened? They didn't even vaccine. They didn't even quarantine. Excuse me. They didn't even quarantine Washington. There was a patient that came to the US from Wuhan, China. They came to Washington State, right? They didn't even quarantine the patient. And that's how the virus broke out in America. And people are blaming this virus and saying, and they're just not mentioning an outbreak in March. So, guys, listen up. These people are trying to spin a narrative. Trillions of dollars, right? When somebody gives you a stimulus package, that means there is a sign of recession going on. There is a sign of the economy collapsing. Why is the economy collapsing? Because they are introducing a new currency system. Like I've stated in my other video, they're introducing a new currency system. All right.
Double the size of the Department of Education and the Obama stimulus package. That's not going to happen in the Trump stimulus package.
What about the conflict between medical experts that would tell you social distancing should continue through June?
Social distancing should continue through June. So they're still talking about people should not be together in a collective, and it's still be they're basically hinting to you guys that this motherfucking shit gonna be going on to June, right? He just hinted that it was this shit finna go on. This shutdown is finna continue to go on until June, right? He just hinted that, guys, you gotta catch these hints. And on top of that, he said medical experts have said social distancing should continue to June, right? But there's been over 200 to 180 scientists that have been trying to contact the World Health Organization, so-called medical experts that's trying to put their input on social distancing. There has been scientists and doctors that have written petitions to even get a hand on World Health Organization about this virus. But yet they want to be the first one talking about social distancing and how it should continue. But they ain't talking about how dangerous 5G is and how it's destroying people. But yet they want to continue to push a narrative. Come on, guys. Let's go.
If that's the case, there's only so much this economy can take. We already know the third quarter GDP is not going to be good. We know the unemployment numbers are astronomical. So we got to get Americans back to work. How do you balance?
Whose fault is that, guys? Now listen, he says, we know the unemployment rate is astronomical. Whose fault is that? Who told you not to go to work no more? The government told you not to go to work no more. You didn't say, I want to stop going to work. The government said, it's a virus out. You need to go back. You need to go home. Right? So what happened was they're trying to blame the citizens for the economic crash. That's why they're giving everybody stimulus packages, because they're basically giving y'all a little bit of checks instead of talking about some basically saying there's a recession going on because of a virus, but really they're blaming the civilians, the citizens, based off of this virus.
Well, what you do is you don't want to reignite the disease. Testing is the key. There's plenty of people.
Hold on. He said what you do is you don't want to reignite the cities. Testing is key. So what does that mean? That means the cities can't come back to normal. Nothing can come back to normal until everybody gets tested. So now everybody got to get a vaccine. That's what he's saying. Senator Lindsey Graham is basically saying, in layman's terms, in low key terms, he's saying the cities can't come back together. The economy can't get back to where it's supposed to be until people get tested, which they already insisted that everybody may have it, which they already insisted that if you think you don't have it, you might have it type shit. So basically trying to scare people into going to get tested, right? Or they're saying it's all leading back to the vaccine, guys. And we already know these vaccines do horrible works to people. Continue.
Don't even know it. They build up antibodies. They can go back to work. So when we flatten the curve, then we'll start doing testing, and we'll start putting people back to work that will not spike the illness.
When we flatten the curve, we'll start doing testing. You know what a flattened curve is, right? That's the flat curve of the economy. When the economy gets back into its original shape and they start doing testing. You know what testing is? That's the test. That's giving you the test to see if you got the coronavirus. To see if they can test you to give you a vaccine so you can go back to work. So they're going to basically say that it's mandatory to get vaccines. That's what they're saying. They're saying that in order for you to even get back to the regular economy, all of us, we have to get vaccines. We have to get tested in order to even get back into the system. Guys, you got to break these sentences down. Come on now. I was born for this.
We want to bump up the economy without creating a spike in the disease. We can do that. If we'll follow the president's leadership here, we're going to bend this curve dramatically. We're going to reopen the economy sooner rather than most people think.
We can open it.
Who do you want to?
Well, you can open it earlier because you're going to have results in 5 minutes, and it's starting at 50,000 thanks to Abbott, and it's going to be much more than that.
Absolutely. Testing breakthrough, but here's the question for the country. President Trump rebuilt one broken economy. He's going to do it again. If this is about how to regulate China, how to get China to change, Trump has done more with China in 3 years than any president in my lifetime. This is about building a broken economy. Who would you pick, Trump or Biden? Trump has a record of rebuilding a broken economy. He did it once. He can do it twice. Getting back to work really depends on testing, and testing is coming online. And
getting back to work really depends on testing, and testing would be online. What does he mean by that, guys? What does he mean by that? We know we know they're talking about vaccines, but what does he mean by testing online? What does that actually mean? Does that mean the economy? Does that mean society is going to be is going to be working online? Is everybody going to be working in their houses? Is there going to be an economy where everything is operating inside your house? Think about it, guys. Think about it. The 5G network. Think about it.
A big time way. So I see light at the end of the tunnel. God bless all the doctors and nurses, but help is on the way here.
Biggest medical mobilization.
The man said, God bless all the doctors and nurses. Help is on the way. Yet, World Health Organization still has ignored 200 to 100 petitions signed by nurses and doctors to even look into this damn virus. You know what I'm saying? It's been petitions to look into this damn virus and you know what I'm saying? But people are like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man, how this shit works.
By far. Unprecedented. Lindsey Graham, thank you.